Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a pretty specific piece of tech, the Aurora Multimedia TPG-8K. It's being called the first 8K test pattern generator that really focuses on network video, on AV over IP. So our mission today is to figure out, why a tool like this is becoming a must-have for high-end AV jobs.
Right. And this is for you, the pro who's actually out there doing the work. You're not just plugging in HDMI cables anymore. You're dealing with these massive 8K resolutions and then also having to manage these decentralized packet-based streams. That's AV/IP. This device, the TPG-8K, it's really built to troubleshoot that messy, complex reality.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Let's start with the raw power, the HDMI side of things. We're talking full spec HDMI 2.1. It can output up to 8K 60, and it pushes the full 48 gigabits per second. So what's the real insight here? Why is testing that physical layer so intensely still so important?
Well, because that physical cable layer is almost always the #1 point of failure when you're pushing this much data. That 48G, it uses a new signaling method called FRL, fixed rate link. It's complex. So the tool's first job is to just verify if that transmission is even stable. That's where the stress is.
And it also mentions ED analysis.
Yeah, the handshake protocol.
Yeah.
That's what tells your source and your display what they can handle. Being able to actually verify that handshake at 8K resolutions, that prevents those really frustrating intermittent failures that are so hard to track down.
Right, the kind that make you want to pull your hair out. And speaking of failures, the source mentions some incredible ESD protection. I mean, we don't need the exact numbers, but what does that mean practically for the installer carrying this thing around?
It just means it's tough. It's built for the field. It has really robust protection against static discharge, so you're less likely to fry the gear from an accidental zap. That's a huge deal in, a dusty commercial environment.
That makes total sense. Okay, so once you know the physical link is solid, the next headache, and maybe the biggest one, is the network.
Exactly.
So let's move to the AV/IP testing. This is supposed to go way beyond just a generic network check.
It does. And the really crucial part here, the so what for AV/IP, is latency measurement. This is revolutionary. The TPG-8K isn't just checking if packets are arriving. It's measuring the full end-to-end delay. And critically, it can isolate the latency that's being added by the network switch itself.
And that's something people usually overlook.
Completely. In traditional AV, you just don't think about it.
Hey.
But when every millisecond matters for signal quality and sync, being able to pinpoint delay in the switch is essential.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting for the person who actually has to use it. The usability. For a device this powerful, they seem to have really focused on making it user-friendly. You've got a 7-inch capacitive touchscreen, a web server for remote control, and 3 hours of battery power so you can carry around. They even put stereo speakers on it for a quick audio check.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it really speaks to the commercial reality of deploying this stuff. Yes, the price tag is high. It's about $8,000.
It's a lot.
But because it's TAA compliant and made in the USA, it actually becomes a budget-friendly solution for, say, government or large enterprise buyers. It cuts down on tariffs and just streamlines that whole purchasing process.
So that brings us to the wrap-up. This TPG-8K really is a bridge. It connects that need for high-bandwidth HDMI 2.1 validation with the, cutting edge of AV/IP troubleshooting. So what does this all mean for you, the person listening?
Well, the device has an option card slot, and Aurora already has an SDVoE option card for it. And SDVoE is a major high-performance AV over IP standard. So it leaves us with a final kind of provocative thought to chew on. How quickly are we going to see AV integrators just stop using generic network tools altogether? How soon will they insist that specialized proprietary AV/IP standards like SDVoE become the absolute baseline for any serious professional AV analysis tool? Something to think about until our next deep dive.